That was horrible.
Isaac.
All right, now step into my office.
All right, I'm stepping in
Come
your
on
office.
in. No, you're not British. I'm the British one.
We're both British.
So so you come into my office.
You
So
want
I've
me-
got this idea.
You want me to what into your office?
I need you to just shut up. No, none of those jokes. It's a very serious comic book business we run here.
Wait, can we
I'm gonna
pause?
need you.
Real talk?
This is me. What's
Can
up?
I have an accent too?
Can you?
Or do you want
this-
me to just be plain old
No,
American
this doesn't
Derek?
work for the because what you see. Follow me here. Follow me here, so you can.
I'm not yes-ending you.
Coming into my office. Shut up! Don't make the joke
Come up to
again.
my office.
And I'm thinking we're gonna create a comic that's about like the darkness and about like evilness. Have you ever taken ayahuasca? It's crazy shit. Gave
So,
me the best years of my life.
What's happening right now is I'm undering the bit as Isaac is presenting it to me.
Yes. You-
So
you get
let's
it
start
now.
over real quick.
Start. That was horrible. All right, step into my office.
Yo, what's up? I'm ready to step in your office.
No. Bullshit. You don't understand my bits.
I actually
it's
do,
over.
but it's funnier to
dead.
ruin your bit.
No, it's done. Forget it. Hi, I'm Isaac.
I am Derek.
We are That
We
Was
have
Horrorble
been. We
Horror
were
Boys. Not to be confused with Horror Boys.
We've already made that joke.
Yeah.
Should we
but
make
now,
it again?
Now it's a thing.
We're horrible.
We're Horror Boys, not Horror Boys.
Wait,
That's
you said
hard.
the same thing.
No, horror.
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 So I'm either a whore or a boy.
You can be one of two things. In this life, you are either a whore or a horror.
Do you remember in high school or
No.
middle school or in elementary school?
I don't remember. I'm a goldfish.
Do you want me to remind you?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you remember you had those classes where you'd like meet with like a career advisor? and
Oh,
you'd sit
yeah.
down?
My favorite classes.
So I remember one time they sat me down and they put two pamphlets in front of me.
Uh-huh.
One of them said whore and the other one said boy.
Whore and boy?
Yeah,
Those are your two
Those are my two
options in life.
Yeah, we just made that. I'm riffing.
There we
and
go.
so I opened up the whore one and it was empty. And I opened up the boy one.
Uh-huh.
There was so much shit in there.
So you're telling me there's the illusion of choice that they
Yeah.
gave you, right?
Yeah.
They're like, no, son. You don't want to be the whore. The whore is an empty void that will leave you feeling nothing and hollow inside.
Little did they know, I had so much on my plate at the time. When I
Yeah.
was a middle schooler, I had
Being a
so
whore.
much going on.
Yeah.
So I took the whore route.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you wanted the easier, like carefree, no thoughts, head empty
it's,
life.
It's unlocked a lot of dialogue options, though, in my life. Played a lot of Baldur's Gate lately.
Played too many video games, man.
All right. How's everybody doing today?
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to
you
hear
think we
you.
can't see you, but I can.
I can.
I
I'm
can
actually
see you, Jessica.
Jonathan.
I'm looking at you.
Frankel.
Frankel. It's my favorite. If there's a Frankel listening to this podcast, thank you so much.
Please comment
for being
on
in the
something. Email me. Be like, hey, don't use my name.
Do you think it was like the father's going to sign this birth certificate and then like dies, like gets shot on the way? He's like, no, I need to name my son Frankel. And then he dies.
And this is the nurse. What was he trying to write, Franklin? No, it's just Frankel.
No, that's a beautiful
No, that
name.
boy's named
I had a brother uncle. His name was Frankel.
A brother uncle.
Had a brother uncle. His name was Frankel.
Okay,
Loved
wait,
him.
now
loved
let's break
me.
this down. We got more
let's-
avenues. So if he's a brother uncle, does that mean your mother is also your sister?
Yes.
Or does that mean your father
all I know is there's
also
a fair
your
amount of
brother?
inbreeding in order to make this happen. Your brother.
Let's
uncle.
try to figure out a way to make this not incestuous.
There's no
So-
way.
So you have a stepdad.
The only way. Okay, like I mean, incest would apply you like sleep together, right? I feel like
Yeah.
your brother could become your uncle.
No,
This is complicated.
It is. I'm gonna
Even
need
through
I'm gonna need a
marriage,
diaphragm.
Like, there's no way. A diaphragm.
I'm gonna need at least 3 diaphragms.
3 diaphragms to breathe through this one.
Is there anyone out there, a vocal pathologist, can draw me up a diaphragm? So this week we watched Separation
God,
from
we've done
2021.
so good at talking about this. Derek, how many times did we forget the goddamn name of this movie?
I literally I said it, looked away, and had to look and find it again.
I don't know what it is about this movie, but this name does not
It
stick
doesn't
with
stick,
me.
which is probably why we didn't know it existed. Because
Right,
this movie came out in
exactly.
2021.
Pretty recently, and I
Believe it or
literally
not,
had not
that
heard of
was
it
like-
until you brought it up to me.
That was like 2 years ago, man.
No
Did
way,
you know
couldn't
that?
be.
Did
No
you know
way.
it's 2023 right now?
No,
Which means
couldn't be.
2023 years ago, Jesus Christ walked the earth.
Yep, and he did like a kickflip on
He
a
did.
skateboard.
And he also poured some grape juice into a cup.
Whoa.
And they said, what? What? People are going to talk about this for years.
For at least 2023 years.
Yeah, fun fact, they're actually going to stop talking about Jesus tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I hope you had fun. Jesus is out tomorrow, guys.
I don't feel like
he's
we can say
done.
that.
No, I don't think we can either.
Do you remember? So me and Isaac went to a circus yesterday.
Oh man, that was crazy.
It was awesome. Never been to a circus before.
I literally encountered like the ringleader at my job.
It was
like
so
he
cool.
came up and he was like, "Yeah, there's this circus. It's like cool if you guys would come." And he was like the ringleader. He didn't even mention that.
It was like literally running the entire operation.
yeah, it's crazy. So if you find a Zope circus coming through your neighborhood, go check it
It
out.
was so much fun.
It was pretty wild.
They travel the world. It's like all Italian and
yeah,
stuff.
it's super cool.
Why was I bringing that up?
I don't know. You mentioned something.
I'm just like talking about
Just
my week again.
yeah, I guess
oh no, because there
circus.
was a priest in it.
The priest was the DJ.
The priest was the DJ, and I think that it was just their actual priest because you need a traveling priest.
Truly,
I take my
though.
priest with me wherever I go.
Yeah, I keep. Well, I keep
I'm not even
I
Catholic.
keep a pocket priest. I keep
Pocket
a little
priest?
guy. Yeah, he carry him around in my pocket. We go on adventures.
Is it time for me to come out?
No, not now, pocket priest.
Oh,
Just
but
hop
I'm
back
happy
in
to
from
come
there.
out anytime you
Hey,
need me to.
you're getting a little ravenous again, buddy. Hey,
Oh,
no,
okay.
don't bite.
Oh,
don't
God
bite.
be with you.
Okay,
God
nope.
be with you.
Back down.
God be with you.
And also with you. And bye.
Okay.
Bye.
So pocket priest exists now.
What do you? Hey, listen, guys. I need some help. Pocket priest is asleep now. What do you like? Feed them. What do you feed? What do you give
If
a
you
pocket
feed
priest?
them the limbs of dead
If you
children.
give a pocket priest a wafer, he's gonna want some blood of Christ.
Wait, that's
If
so
you
bad.
give a pocket priest some blood,
Blood
of
of
Christ,
Christ. He's gonna want. No, we can't keep going. It's gonna get bad.
We're getting awfully blasphemous in this episode.
Which is a game that came out last week.
Oh my
I'm
god!
having so much fun.
We
with-
watched Separation, and boy, did we keep forgetting the name of it because the name
What
is
movie did we watch?
uninteresting. We could come up with our own better name for this movie. I think.
Okay, we're gonna riff. Okay, 5 movie names. Ready? I'm gonna start.
Okay, go.
Clown in the Closet.
Clown in the Closet. Mime in your hallway.
Puppet on a String.
Your dad made your nightmares.
That's more of a tagline. It's like Clown in a Closet. Your dad made your nightmares.
That's pretty. See, that's better though.
That is
I
good.
would remember that.
That is good.
I would hold on to that in my brain. What else? What else we got? We could do.
Babysitter Troubles. Instead of troubles of babysitting, it's like Babysitter Troubles.
So your mom's your imaginary friend.
your mom's.
Mommy and daddy are fighting again. That's what this one is.
Bonking your head in the attic.
That's pretty good.
We could probably do the entire plot of the movie just like this.
Just by naming things that happen.
Or we could just talk about the movie.
Or we could talk about the movie. Derek, do you have some things you learned about this movie? Some facts and figures?
I might.
Just
Do
a
you
couple.
want to know them?
Yeah, I would. Because if you didn't, I didn't. And that would be
this
super
movie
awkward.
called?
They called it Separation.
Clown in the Closet
Yep,
was
that's
made
it.
in 2021.
Closet clown.
It had a Rotten Tomatoes score of 7%.
Low ball.
Woof.
Low ball.
And that is on 30 reviews, so woof. 35% is from the crowd. It doesn't seem like very many people saw this movie.
No, yeah, I feel like
But-
this one kind of faded away into nothingness.
It grossed $4.5 million.
Okay, what was his
So-
budget?
I don't know.
What?
I've looked everywhere, dog.
I was hoping you would have that.
I've looked.
One of my expectations had to do with the budget. I was like, well, Derek can help me out
Okay,
here.
well, I can keep searching, but I've literally Googled, I think, 2 places.
Like, who's hiding this information? Are
I
they
don't know.
embarrassed?
I think they're kind of embarrassed. Maybe it's because it cost like an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Or somebody gave Pocket Priest a wafer and he's like, hey, here, make the movie.
Is Pocket Priest a director?
Yeah, but that's his director voice. He like pops out of the, like, you see him in Steven Spielberg's breast pocket.
Yeah.
All right, now make a move over there.
Little do you guys
Over
know,
there.
pocket priests are actually in charge of all the movies.
It's
in
like
Hollywood.
Ratatouille.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
Ratatouille, but it's pocket priests, and so they
Yeah.
just like put them up. That's why they have directors' hats. That's it. So yeah, they
Everyone-
live up in that hat, and they're sitting there stirring them and telling them, "Hey, direct this, cinematography that,
Yeah.
script supervisor this."
But
I'm the pocket
unfortunately, they
priest.
cost a lot of money. And if you're not Irish Catholic,
Yeah,
then your movie doesn't do as well.
that makes sense.
Which is why that what's that guy who made Banshees of Inisherin?
that one
Forgot his
man,
name.
Damien Chazelle.
Nope. Okay, hold on. No. It's like Martin Madonna. Oh wow, I probably
I think you're so close there.
should I
I'm really
should I
loving this
quit?
imagery of like like James Cameron is on set for Avatar, and they're like, James, interesting piece in headwear today. You're not usually a hats guy. He's like, no, it's fine. No,
It's
don't
fine,
touch it.
Don't touch it. And then like on the set for Oppenheimer, you just see him sitting back. It's like, Oh, that was a very good explosion. What? Are you okay?
No, Christopher Nolan's sitting there with like a big hat, and he's like, the explosion happens and it blows his hat away, and you see like
He's like holding on.
he's holding on to the hairs as he's blowing away in the wind.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Will someone draw that? Will someone out there please draw that?
Draw Christopher Nolan, windswept hair, and a pocket priest holding on for dear life.
Pocket Priest is confirmed, by the way.
What?
I'm gonna put it into like
You're just gonna say that?
Guinness World
Let's
Records.
just throw it into Wikipedia because anyone can change Wikipedia.
All right.
Okay, so it made money. What else
it
happened?
made money. The Letterboxd reviews are sitting at 1.9,
Ooh.
and IMDb is sitting at something because Derek closed it out. I'm so bad at being a podcast host, and I think that's why there's two of us. Because if there was only one of us, we would fail.
Often
you
I
know?
think about that. I'm like, I couldn't do this shit by myself. There's no way.
I think you could. Okay, but here's the thing: you have played a D&D character that had 5 personalities.
It was awesome. Yeah,
But-
I can have conversations with myself.
the IMDb.
But how much sadder is that if it's just me having conversations with different versions of myself in my head? I think they would call the medical authorities to help me.
Well, but Pocket Priest is there
Yeah.
anytime you need him.
Do you have a pocket priest?
No.
Mhm.
Oh, if you tell him about me, I'll kill you.
Derek, where'd you get that hat?
If you tell him about me, I'll kill you.
The hat looks-
I swear to God, I'm not going to tell him.
Why is he
You swear to
Irish?
God? He's
Why
Irish
is
Catholic.
Pocket-
Did you not get that? It makes sense.
Yes, so you just wanted to do the Irish voice.
I
think.
just love doing Irish voices. That's why we watched Leprechaun like 40
So-
episodes ago.
so-
4.7.
4.7
4.7.
on IMDb.
IMDb.
Is that out of 10?
No, it's out of 30.
Out of 30?
Of course it's out of 10.
I don't know.
What?
Some places have 5-star rankings. You know, Letterboxd.
Yeah, but did this movie warrant an almost 5-star rating?
Nah, that's why I was confused.
All right, so Separation was directed by William Brent Bell and written by Nick Amadeus.
Amadeus.
Wow, you're on one today. And Josh Braun. First, we'll talk about William Brent Bell. So, here's my thing about him. He's directed a lot. He has directed The Devil Inside,
Oh.
a movie called Were.
Were?
don't know
Like
why-
W-E-R-E,
No,
were?
W-E-R.
Were.
Do you think this movie they had a pocket priest on set?
Maybe they're trying to be edgy and be like, you know, like you can take a movie and call it Wolf instead of Werewolf. And so maybe they're trying to do the other half and they're like Where instead of Werewolf. Right?
Yeah,
Right,
that's something.
please? Anything?
Yeah, that's something. No, Isaac, hey. that's
Is it a
something.
werewolf movie or not?
I don't actually know. It was by the guy who did Paranormal Activity and Insidious. Well, it was produced by one of them.
That tracks. That
So-
tracks.
He also did The Boy
Okay.
and
yeah, I've heard of
Orphan
that
First
one.
Kill and The Boy 2.
I've heard of these movies.
So, yeah, but you know, something you'll learn about all these movies,
Uh-huh.
they all sit around the 5.0 rating.
Ooh, oh no.
And The Devil Inside is a movie I have almost picked for the podcast.
Really?
Like a good 15 times.
Oh, okay. Well,
Is that
I
how
guess-
many times I've picked? Probably.
I mean,
So
probably we're on
arguably
episode,
almost-
like 29 at this point.
So almost every single time I've looked at that movie and been like, we should watch that.
Well, you heard it here. Maybe soon we'll be watching The Devil Inside.
It was written by Josh Braun and Nick Amadeus. Josh Braun, so kind of hilarious, right? He has written.
He's so God, Josh Bryan is so funny. Why is he so funny? You're looking at me all mad. Don't be mad. No, don't be mad at me. You can't be mad at me.
Okay, so he is. Get ready to high five. Ready?
Okay.
He's produced 69 movies.
Hey, that's what's funny.
I guess. He's only written one movie though, and it was this movie.
This is the one he wrote.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Separation, he
But
wrote.
You know the thing that's so funny to me about this?
What's so funny?
He has produced a lot of really good movies.
Really?
Yeah, so maybe he should
Lay
just
him on me.
stick
Hit
to
me with it.
stick
If he
to
didn't
producing.
produce Shrek, I don't want it.
Dang it, he didn't produce.
What if? That'd be crazy.
I looked. I was kind of hoping. No, so he did The House of the Devil, which I haven't seen, but it's one of those Ty West movies that everybody talks about. It was like it was supposed to be like an 80s movie but current, and apparently it's incredible. I haven't seen it yet. But he also did Creep 1 and 2, which if you know me, you know I really like the Creep movies. Isaac hasn't seen them.
Nope.
This is my finger in
Not
your
me.
face.
Nah, because I'm not a creep like you.
I'm a weirdo. I don't belong here.
What the hell am I doing here?
I'm
I
not a
don't
monster.
belong here.
I know the lyrics to that song by Radio Bread.
Radio bread.
We're so stupid. But he wrote it with Nick Amadeus, who's done nothing.
Amadeus.
Isaac was ready for that.
Sorry.
Nothing
except this?
No, yeah, he's just written this. They wrote it together, and that's it. But he did get one nomination.
Okay.
For Best Performance of a Young Actor in TV Comedy Series The Anti-Gravity Room from 1996. Good for him. Hey, I think that's all I had to say about this movie.
That's all the information you got.
How long have
me?
we been sitting here? We've been sitting here for 15 minutes.
Oh, brother.
Got anything else to talk about?
I mean, we could talk about our expectations.
Do you think
we
anybody
usually do that?
Okay, I have a question for the people, and maybe Pocket Priest will be able to answer this.
Sure, yeah.
Does anybody skip ahead?
I wonder, honestly.
Because, like, I know in other podcasts, they're like, I don't want to hear all the jib jab.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip to the fun stuff, which is
I don't know. I feel like the fun stuff is everything we do besides talking about the plot of the movie.
Should we have a second podcast called That?
That. Let's have 3 podcasts. One called That. One was. One is Was, and one is Horrorble.
So we'd have to have 4 podcasts.
That was Horrible. What's the 4th one?
That was Horrible.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes,
we keep this one. We don't get rid of
keep this one. Okay, but yeah,
no, because everybody's making a podcast these days, and I feel like we're just like on the cusp of being incredible.
Yeah,
so let's not branch out. Let's
beautiful stuff. Let's focus in on what's good.
We got our pocket priests on our shoulder.
We got pocket priests on each shoulder. I've got one that looks like a little angel and one that dressed like a little devil.
Does you have a pocket devil?
Yeah, I got a pocket.
But that doesn't have as much alliteration. You've got to have like docket devil.
Docket devil.
Dickit devil.
Dickit devil.
Dicky devil.
Dicky the devil.
He hangs onto your dick.
Devil Dicky.
And whenever you do something bad.
No. So my expectations for the movie.
Oh my God.
For me, I said going into this movie, I was like eager but not excited yet. We watched the trailer for it. I'm like, okay, it doesn't look as bad as I was expecting for a movie I heard really nothing about, but like it didn't look like it was going to blow me away. It definitely looked like it'd be more like Derek's style than my style. I think Derek would have liked this one more than me because you know me, I'm the typical like 80s movie with a creature covered in goo, right? Like that's my whole vibe.
You hate it.
I love that kind of stuff.
That's why Gooper Bawhead Becks exist.
Goop head Becks. It's giving Babadook vibes is kind of what I was
100%.
feeling at first. 100%.
Yeah, I completely agree with that one.
It was looking like it was going to have a pretty high budget just based on the cinematography shots in it. It's like the general production value of the entire thing. I'm like, this looks like it might have had some money. And then Derek fucking blew it, and now I'll never know if it had a high budget.
Listen, man,
who knows?
This movie didn't have a budget.
I mean, I guess that means it's free, right? That's what people like to say when you're at the store. Like, oh, it doesn't have a price on it. Does that mean it's free? Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Okay, but I hear shit like that at work, and it drives me bonkers.
Yeah, no kidding, man. It makes me want to die.
So listen to it. Okay, we're having a sidebar.
Yeah,
sidebar. Everybody out there, you go to a grocery store, you go into a restaurant, which is our 2 places as well. You work at a place, and I work at a place.
We both work at places,
and you go into one of those places. Don't make stupid comments.
Hey guys, anytime you decide to be a customer, be cool.
Just like don't
be like so cool.
Yeah, be like chill. Be like, hey, how's your day?
Yeah,
I'll be like, it's good. How's your day? And then we can move on with life. Don't be like, yeah, bet you hate working today, huh?
Oh, man. It's awful. God, you're giving me like PTSD and I'm still in it.
Because somebody came up to me today. Just got off work.
Yeah.
Somebody came up to me today and was like, oh, man, I would have hated to be working today.
You're like,
you're also working
awesome.
today.
That's great.
What do you mean?
It's so weird.
Anyway,
another expectation was that I thought there'd be cool designs for these creatures. I noticed there's a couple like puppet-esque looking things, one creepy mime looking guy. I'm like, they look neat. I like them. So there's like a doll that had like these teeth, like human-looking teeth in its mouth. Like, it looked pretty cool, so I like those. Mm-hmm. Lots of different movie inspirations rolled into one, and I'm unsure if it will work, but it could. Again, I was kind of iffy. I'm like, I don't know, this one might pull out okay, but like it looks like it's just like they were trying to do a lot of different things, pulling inspiration from a lot of other stuff to make it work. So I don't know. And then based on the trailer, I thought it'd have decent cinematography. I was kind of looking forward to that. Yeah. What says you, my good man, in your expectations? Expectations?
Matt Berry? What if you had a Matt Berry in your pocket? Oh my God. Okay. So
oh my God. Fantastic.
He tells you what to do. You must go to the supermarket.
Supermarket.
Don't forget toilet paper. All right. I was thinking there was going to be a lot of cheap scares with the clown thing. I thought it would rely too heavily on the fact that he is designed the way he is and not do anything interesting with him. You know what I mean by that?
You're talking about like the main baddie?
The main clown thing.
Yeah.
It's not even really a clown.
Nah.
But when we watched the trailer, I thought it would be.
Yeah, we have to speak like we don't know these things. None of
I
this has
don't
happened
know.
yet.
I've never even seen this movie.
What's the movie called again? Clown Closet?
God damn it. I
Closet
had
Clown?
to actually.
Oh my God, it's so real.
Like, you think that this is a bit.
Mm.
It is not a bit.
Nope.
I actually had to listen to the end of the podcast. Even though I wrote it down in my notes, I was at work. I think it was Friday.
Yep.
And I was like, what are we doing on Sunday? Crap.
No.
I'll just look it up. I'll
Clown
just listen to
Closet.
the
Your
episode
daddy
again.
made your nightmares. That's the one.
I love it. All right.
What else you got?
A decent story that just uses loss as a way to create tension and not use actually any of it to be valuable or like interesting. And what I mean by that is like, it was obvious the mom was going to die because you see her die in the trailer.
You see her get wrecked by a car.
Yes. It's brutal.
Yeah.
And in the trailer even. So I was like, okay, so it's obvious they're just going to use that as a way to like tease emotions Pixar style and not really use it interesting or like show any real grieving. So like, for example, The Haunting of Hill House, one of my favorite things of all time. There's that it is all about grief.
Mm-hmm.
That is the entire plot is grief and ghosts. And I love it for that reason because it uses it as like an intelligent method, right? And this I was hoping would do the same thing, but I had a feeling it wouldn't. Does any of what I said make sense?
I'm mostly just trying to think of a third G thing, so it could be like
Grief, ghosts, and ghouls.
Ghouls, there
You're
we go.
obsessed with goo.
I love it. Love
Isaac,
me some
intervention
goo.
time. Intervention time.
Nah, you got my expectations or what?
Goopervention.
Nope, we get goopervention.
Okay.
Please, you can't take me in all of my sentient goo.
I was thinking it would have terrible CGI, and the only cool shot of CGI was in the trailer, which is one of like the radio or whatever, like dissipating.
Yeah.
And then
We'll
I
talk
wrote
about that.
I wrote this out, but it says kid actors.
Kid actors.
Yeah,
that's
but
it.
like I wrote
clap in between.
kid actors,
You wrote kid clap,
but
actor,
it's like
clap.
not as rhythm, like kid actors.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I was kind of doing it more.
Is that like emphatic? Like you're like enthusiastic about that?
No, like
it's a good thing.
like despair.
Despair.
Yeah, I have like a history of not
I
liking
think that's
kid
like
actors.
kid actors. That's like despair.
No, but I'm like being a tic tac girl. Tic tac.
Tic Tac.
I'm
God, you're old.
being a tic tac.
Are you making them Tic Tacs again?
All right, this is me, your Irish pocket priest, and
Irish
you're going to need to
pocket
get back
priest.
on track.
Oh,
All right,
gosh.
you got it. Everybody out there knows what I mean when I say kid actors.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of didn't read it. It's kind of like a little song. Want to write a song about kid actors?
Yeah.
That seems a little weird.
Kid actors, they know
Kid.
what to do. They always have trouble when they turn 32.
They go to the zoo and they really hate you, but they're at the zoo and that's okay too.
Kid actors.
Kid actors.
That's
Yeah,
it.
That's
That's
pretty
all
good. A wannabe sinister was my final exposition.
Ooh, yeah,
expectation.
absolutely.
It
And
just
that was another one that I felt
100%
like it was
gave that vibe.
pulling inspiration from. I'm like, it's giving like Babadook vibes, Paranormal Activity, Sinister, Hereditary, even like all of these things all rolled into one.
It really, and to like go off of that one, it didn't seem like it was going to do anything new.
No, yeah,
I felt like everything in this movie I'd seen before.
yeah.
And I was ready for that.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to bring me anything like original for the idea of like a haunting in some house, right?
Yeah. All right, so we've been Isaac and Derek. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep,
you
and
can find us at that was horrible.
all right, so if you look in the drawer in your desk there, I've put some ayahuasca, and we're gonna take that now.
Wait, how do you take ayahuasca?
I don't know. It looked like he sipped it. I think he drank it. I don't know.
Ayahuasca.
That shows you how much of a joke this is because I sincerely don't know how to do this.
Isaac, have you seen how to spell ayahuasca?
Yeah, it's AYAHUASCA.
You knew that shit?
Yeah, man. I'm a great speller. I love to spell. That's the thing about me. I'm a nerd man, and I love to spell things.
Say ayahuasca like Wario. Waluigi.
Oh, man, I was ready to go Wario. Can I do Wario instead?
I'll do Wario. You do Waluigi.
No, you do Waluigi. I want to do Wario.
Ayahuasca.
That's pretty good. Ayahuasca.
That's pretty good.
That's
You
not
were
bad.
ready.
We could do this.
We could do this.
We cast us. Hey, Illumination. Cast us in the Mario sequel movie.
But here's the thing, man. You're a thin boy. I'm a thick
What?
boy.
They don't know that.
But you can hear it in the voices.
You ever wonder if there are people who listen to this podcast that do not know us in person?
I'm
Which
so
I
convinced.
have doubts about, but it's like, have they like created their own images for us in their heads? What do we
Probably.
look like?
I look like a goofy goober. We've talked about this on the podcast.
Have
before.
we already? Maybe we have. So anyway, we've taken our ayahuasca.
Maybe we can talk about it again.
And we're ready to talk about this movie, to
I shouldn't
face
have
our
had any of that
demons
ayahuasca.
and talk about this movie. I promise the ayahuasca thing will make sense at some point in this episode.
For those of you who don't know what ayahuasca is,
Oh, here he is. Who else
hello.
but Science Jim?
it's been a while. How are you, gentlemen,
What
during
the
the night
fuck?
today?
God, your voice is so different every single time.
It's kind of part of the bit.
Oh my God.
He's a conglomeration of every doctor that's ever lived. Today he's a little Irish.
Is he a doctor or is he a scientist?
Nothing. Ayahuasca is a plant-based psychedelic. Psychedelics affect all the senses, including a person's thinking, sense of time, and emotions. It's a consecrated liquid, so you do actually drink it.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
It's a vine that you actually boil,
Interesting.
and then you suck on it.
And then just makes you trip the hell out. So let's trip
but
out.
it's basically just DMT, dimethyl.
Yep. Yep. That's it. No. Yep. One more time. Maybe just get a clean take for right now.
Dimethyltryptamine.
Not bad. It was better the second time around.
Dimethyltryptamine.
No, it was worse the third time. Child actors. So,
Isaac, keep the podcast going.
I'm liking the vibes thus far in the opening credits. There's eerie piano music over some shots of like kids' drawings
Ooh, it
and
looks
stuff.
cool.
Like something, I just wrote something about this title is not very captivating. We kept forgetting what it was called.
Yes, but the title sequence,
Yeah, the opening
was
credits
really cool.
was nice, and I honestly I wrote, I hope the movie lives up to the vibe that they've cultivated here.
Yes.
Because I feel like sometimes there's an art to the opening credit sequence where you can do a really
yeah.
good job of cultivating like the vibe of what the movie is going to give you, and sometimes it is completely the wrong vibe. It's like, what the hell is this? It's either great or bad, and you're like, it doesn't live up to either, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
So that was one thing. I'm like, you guys are doing a good job. I'm hooked. I'm with it right now.
Yeah.
Keep it going. You know,
It was
keep me
very
invested.
It was very American McGee or like Tomorrow Corporation, very Burton-esque.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
all of the way that the drawings were
Yeah,
like
exactly.
coming to
Kind of
life.
like asymmetrical, wonky looking styles, like very spooky, big teeth hanging out, and realistic eyeballs on cartoon
Very
characters.
cool. Very
Love
cool.
to see it. So then we got a great first shot. There's a little girl holding some seance tea party in her attic.
just like completely normal.
Yeah, right. She's got all of her dolls around her at this table with a bunch of candles lit up and stuff, but like the dolls are kind of fucked up. They're a little demented.
But what we should talk about right off the bat is
Right off
this
the
little
bat.
actor, Violet
Kid.
McGraw.
Actors.
Kid actors. So immediately my expectation is thrown out the water
Mm-hmm.
because she's like one of the best kid actors I think I've ever seen on the
This
screen.
child's been in everything.
And she's
all
been
over
in
the
everything.
place.
She's been in Haunting of Hill House. She
Yep.
plays young Nell, which was awesome to see. She was
Yeah.
in Megan, that just happened, that one movie, in Doctor Sleep. Like, she's just been in a lot.
She was
So,
in Dr. Sleep. I don't even remember that.
yeah, well, you should watch it again because it was a great movie.
Sometimes when you're like a good child actor, you're just in like every movie because every movie needs that, you know?
Yeah, I think she started in Ready Player One, which I never saw. So,
Oh, okay.
so yeah, right off the bat though, she's doing a great job.
Yeah, she's doing
giving a
great.
great performance. So good for her.
Killer, good on her end. But she keeps talking about she thinks someone's trying to send her a message and she doesn't want them to scare them away. And then she like
Did that
she's
ever come back?
No, I don't really think so. And this is before anything even happened. Meanwhile, while she's talking to like her creepy looking doll friends, her dad, we find a little bit more about him. He's like some spooky artist, right? He does comic book art and kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the characters that he creates are the dolls that she has. So he makes these fucked up characters that she has dolls for. They're called Grizzly Kin is the name for like the comic book that he was writing.
Which looks a lot like Grizz Grimley's.
Yes. That's the best way to describe that
But
that thing. If
it
you
seems
want,
a little
go look up.
close.
Right?
Like, did they get permission from him?
I have no idea. Maybe Grizz Grimley helped out. I don't know.
I kind of hope he did.
Maybe.
Because it's pretty close.
But yeah, like go check out Grizz Grimley. He has some really cool art.
I love his Frankenstein adaptation.
Yeah, he's got Frankenstein. He's got the illustrated novel for Hocus Pocus. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff that he helped
work on Pinocchio.
Wicked nursery rhymes. With Guillermo del Toro and stuff. Yeah, he was here like working on the original designs for that shit. So good stuff. Anyway, so that's kind of the vibe that he has with his art that he makes, right? So I find that he's kind of a struggling artist. Like, he made this I don't even know, just like comic book series, right? Called Grizz Grimley, which was popular.
No, he didn't. It was the
Grizzlykin. Sorry, Grizzlykin. I'm gonna do that. And it doesn't seem like it ever went off anywhere, and he keeps trying to like resurrect it and make it happen. And it's like stop trying to make Grizzlykin happen. Grizzlykin's not gonna happen.
Yeah, sweetie.
Meanwhile, he's in his little office working on that with the babysitter who should be watching the daughter, and she's not. She's just hanging out with him anyway. And then as little girl goes up in the attic to this window that's kind of high up, a bird flies at the window and almost makes the girl fall down.
Yeah.
So she falls off and grabs a beam.
She's a freaking ninja.
Yeah, and she's just like dangling there, and then sure enough, she does fall, and
she bonk her head.
a little bit. She bonk her head, and of course, it's just because babysitter wasn't doing her damn job.
Yeah, dude.
And it's also like, idiot. Why didn't Dad say, "Hey, go watch my kid, man? I'm doing work here. Get out of here."
Yeah, but like.
She's like she's an artist as well, and she's kind of complimenting him on it. Her name is Sam. I think is the babysitter's name.
I only heard her being an artist one other time in this movie. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that.
All she does is compliment his work a lot. And there's one time she's like, "Oh yeah, I could do like inking for you," So it's like, okay, so she is an artist as well. Don't really understand how they know each other very well
off the bat, this character seemed so throwaway and so pointless.
Yeah, exactly.
But it also seemed like they were going to keep her around.
Mm-hmm. So the daughter falls. Now mom is home, and then mom and dad are fighting over the fact that babysitter wasn't watching her. She's pissed at him because now she's like, she works for her dad, who's like a lawyer, and she like wasn't happy to make that decision because she kind of had to because husband's over here being a struggling artist, and she's like kind of arguing whether or not that's even a real job. And they're kind of she's pretty shitty about it. She's like, "You're not special. You're just unemployed."
They really gave us no reason to like her at all.
They also gave us no reason to, like, I don't know. The whole like mom and dad fighting thing felt so thrust upon us so fast.
Yes.
And like the mom acted like this dude had killed someone. She like hates him so much.
And she just fell and bumped her head.
No, I know.
Like,
exactly,
is this maybe
right?
like the 800th time she's bumped her head?
We just like didn't get enough of a background of like how long they've been struggling with this to like justify how angry she was about this stuff, right?
It was a little ridiculous.
Because like she's upset with him, sure, like I get that, but it's also like he was like helping her bandage up her wound and stuff like that. It's not like he left her to the wayside. Like the babysitter was there to watch her, right? Like he was doing his work.
And it would have been different had it seemed like there was something sketchy going on with the babysitter and the dad.
But
right?
at this point, nothing like that.
Nothing was
really
happening like that. At least like what we had seen and the way they were acting together, they didn't have any chemistry, at least from my perspective.
Mm-hmm. But they made this mom a very hard to like character. Her name was Margaret. Sometimes they refer to her as Maggie. And she just like was just kind of an ass the whole time. Like really not a very lovable character. And now they're getting divorced.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's
like immediately.
That's how quick this happens. The mom's like taking the daughter Jenny. She's taking her into the car, and dad's like, "All right, here I come." She's like, "No, you're not coming with us." She's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I'm leaving. Goodbye." And then she just like takes the daughter, goes out of the car, and in the next scene, they're having a custody battle over Jenny. And it's like
it's insane.
It was also at this point Derek mentioned that the main dad, whose name is Jeff, kind of looks like Orlando Bloom. He's like knockoff Orlando Bloom.
He's like if Orlando Bloom and that other guy had a baby together. Mm-hmm. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name. Keep going.
Someone. So anyway, it's like it's Jeff the dad and his lawyer, and then the soon to be ex-wife who has her dad with her, who is a big time lawyer, and who plays this guy?
It's
Derek?
Brian Cox, who plays Logan Roy in Succession. Yeah, and he's also William Stryker in X-Men.
Exactly, like
he's
kind of
very
got some
well-known actor.
Exactly, he's got some big titles under his belt, right?
Yeah,
but right now he's
kind of a shock to see him there actually, because I've been watching Succession, so to like jump over and see him here, I was like, what are you doing?
But yeah, so he's definitely coming in being kind of asshole grandpa to go with the asshole wife, who's just like, "Hey, I don't think you're good for my daughter. We need to get her, or my granddaughter. We need to get her the hell away from you," right?
Yeah.
Which, like, we'll say this now. At no point in this movie is this man a bad dad.
No.
Like, he's got the right intentions. He treats his daughter very well. He's sweet with her. They play together. He, like, takes care of her and stuff. Literally, the biggest gripe that I can have about him is just, like, he's kind of like a kid that's never really grown up. He's not doing very good at being the adult kind of things. But, like, he always has his daughter's best interests at heart, and his daughter loves him.
And he obviously loves his daughter so much.
He's not abusive towards her, like, even slightly. Like, he's very kind to her.
I feel like when they were writing these characters, they were very torn because they were like, hey, the mom's not going to be there very often. We have to, like, make this happen and make him seem like a bad guy. But we don't want him to be unlovable.
Right.
Because we have to make people like him. And I appreciate that, but it made everything else unbelievable.
It just didn't make sense why they were like so adamant about how we're like, we need to move out of the state. You're so awful for my daughter. We need to get the hell away from you. It's like, what the hell?
This poor guy, I just felt bad for him.
I know. I feel like the mom was worse for the little girl than the dad was, honestly.
Because she's like off being a lawyer. And like, yeah, it's good. She needs to support the family. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, it didn't leave a good taste in my mouth.
Because he's not even trying to be like, trying to fight the divorce or anything like that. He's like, I just want to have like, custody over my daughter. Like, not even full custody. Just like, share this with me, right?
He just wants to see his
Because mom's
child.
trying to take 100% custody of it. And then they gave him a big boy check to be like, hey, man, get out of here. Give me custody. I will pay you off in a big way.
Yeah.
We never find out how much money he's being offered, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and even his lawyer is like, hey, you're probably not going to win this custody battle. You should just take the money and get out of here, dog.
Yeah.
But again, like, he's not a shitty guy. He's like, I'm not going to stand for that. She's my daughter and I love her. No amount of money is going to keep me away from that. So again, like, he's a good dad.
But I kind of feel like he was being gaslighted so hard here because he started to blame himself to the point where he was almost willing to just take the money just so his daughter would be happier.
Yeah.
Like, I never felt like he was going to take the money for the money's sake.
Yeah.
It was like, no, my daughter needs to be safe. And maybe they're right. Maybe I am the bad guy.
Yeah,
here.
and that's...
It was really shitty. I really hated
It's
watching
tough.
him
You
go
really
through
kind of
this.
feel bad for the guy. But it's wild because like all of this is just the fruits of his midlife crisis via like artist's block.
Yeah.
Is basically it because his grizzly kin clearly hasn't worked, and he has a conversation with his daughter in some coffee shop about how like why he doesn't draw as much anymore.
Yeah.
And he basically just said, like the ideas stopped coming and it just feels like a waste of ink. I'm like, oof, man, this guy's
It's deep.
it's struggling. Like he's going through his midlife crisis solely because he's got mad artist block.
Yeah,
but
man.
while he's at this coffee shop, he sees an old friend from college who like is like super successful in comic books now. He's got his own company and stuff like that. He's like, hey man, you should come work for me. He's like, yeah man, remember Grizzly Kin? He's like, hey man,
Hey, just drop it.
Grizzly Kin's a little outdated at this point, right? He's like, why don't you come work for my new comic book company, right? Come in, we'll see about getting you a job. And then like Dad definitely takes that immediately. He's like, oh, he wants to resurrect my old comic book series. And he's like,
Which is not the impression the viewer got.
no,
either.
I didn't feel that way at all. I was thinking like he'd give you a lucky break, he'd give you like a small gig doing something, right? Which is
Yeah.
what he was offering him.
Yeah,
right? He's
he
like,
was offering to come do.
He's like, I thought like you could do like storyboarding or like inking for me. I told you, man, I'm not interested in doing
Yeah.
Grizzly Kin. But yeah, so it was like a little bit awkward, and that kind of ends super awkwardly. But meanwhile, Dad and Mom are fighting on the phone because they were supposed to meet up here at like this neutral location to talk about custody and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And Dad mixed up the locations, so he's at the wrong place, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm just not feeling like the mom's anger is incredibly justified against the dad. 'Cause
She's furious.
She's fuming with
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Like, and he's arguing with her about like, why can't I have her? Like she argues, she's like, 'cause she's mine, and then gets hit by a car.
Yeah. What she was saying was icky.
Incredibly possessive of the daughter.
Yeah. And then, bam.
Yeah. And just so quick, I literally just wrote, oh shit, mom got hit by a car.
I wrote that too. I wrote mom and dad fighting on phone. Oh, hit by car.
And the camera doesn't pan away. It shows her
No.
get hit and even have her like get run over under the car a little bit.
she gets dragged a little bit.
And then she's sitting there almost like Peter Griffin after he gets hit in a nasty scrape. The look where he's got his arm like half bent behind him, that kind of look.
And then it didn't look like real blood.
It
was coming
absolutely
out of
was
it.
not. It
They had like
absolutely was not.
CGI blood superimposed over the top of the
This
freaking
movie
ground.
had very interesting, very weird uses and decisions on when they would use CGI and when they wouldn't. That was one where it's like, was it really that hard to get the actress to lay on the pavement and put fake blood around her head?
No.
Like
it would just wash away.
No, exactly. Like, it's sincerely not
Like,
that hard.
What? Why? Why did you do this?
Yeah. So mom's dead, and now they're at the wake for it. Jenny, the daughter, is painting on the walls with like ketchup, and she's kind of regressed to talking like she did when she was younger. Like because her and her dad would talk, and he would call her baby. Like, does baby love daddy? Baby love mommy? Baby love Scarlet, his character that he created from Grizzly Kin? And she would say, yeah. And so like she's referring to herself as baby. Now she's doing it again. Yeah. So she's regressed because of like the depression of her mom dying, and
which is actually something that is very common,
very real.
It is very real, and it is. This is one thing I really liked about the movie, I'll say it now, is their way that they presented her mental struggle with losing her mom.
Felt pretty realistic.
For now.
Yeah. So then dad tells her to stop it, and it's a little awkward at the party. So his babysitter friend is like, hey, you should probably say something to make this less awkward. So he starts giving some speech about like, oh, if my wife was here, she'd be better at this. She was always the one that like did stuff better. He's like, I remembered all the dates for Jenny's puppets, but she remembered when her doctor's appointments were, right? Like that's kind of the duo dynamic that they had there. But as he's talking, some force of nature, something knocks over a candle on this painting that he made of the three of them, of the family, like mom, dad, and daughter. And then it starts this really bad CGI fire.
Almost worked, man.
It looked bad.
It was almost. I'm gonna rate this one a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, no, that fire was real rough, and it starts to spread over the painting of the family. And then he's just sitting there staring at it, and there actually is a neat effect where it starts to take his face in the painting and just like stretch and melt it.
It kind of started looking like the Scream mask.
Yeah. It was pretty good. I liked it a lot.
I did too.
But then that kind of happens. They put out the fire. Nothing really comes of that for a little bit.
I did like, though, you see this painting in the background of one scene later on, and he had drawn a picture of his face.
Like a little self-portrait.
On like a sketch, just taped it.
And taped it over it, yeah. He's like, I'm not going to repaint that. I'm sure it's fine. The police have no lead on the car or the driver that hit the mom, and that's something that's upsetting the grandpa right now. He's like, we've got no lead on who did this, He's super fishy about it. He's so suspicious of it. Yeah.
I was just like, okay, hit and run, right? And then the dad, the Logan Roy or whatever his name is, Brian
Cox.
Yeah. He keeps bringing this up. I'm like, why is this movie trying to force this murder plot?
He keeps pushing it. It's a plot that keeps living on in the background while everything else is happening. Grandpa's over here like, there's got to be something. Someone had to be there. Grandpa's over here like, there's a murder afoot. Sitting over here with his magnifying glass and his Sherlock Holmes hat.
He's just walking. Old man, let's get you back inside. No, there's been a murder. I need to figure out who killed my daughter.
But he does have a pretty good line talking to his son-in-law. He says, "We are what we do, not what we intend to do."
Oh, I loved that.
Like, damn, that's a pretty good line, because he was kind of antagonizing the son about like, well, you almost lost everything, and now you're in this situation, so it's probably pretty good for you, right?
Yeah,
kind of an asshole to him, but like whatever. It is what it is. Back home, things are getting a little bit of spooky. There's a bone crunching contortionist clown that just shows up.
Yeah, so this guy looked awesome.
Yeah, he's cool, but like so out of nowhere and so all at once. Like, fuck Monster Delay.
I wrote, does Monster Delay mean nothing to you?
You fiends.
Because they literally just he walks out of his room and all of a sudden this cool contortionist monster mime guy.
Literally, he goes back home after the wake, he goes to bed, then he wakes up kind of stirred in his sleep. He's like, what's that sound outside? So he walks out of his room, and then from the other side of the hallway, I think it comes out of the attic, the door that leads up to the attic, just comes out, this contortionist mime thing.
Which looked great.
Looks great. It was spooky enough, but I'm like, I feel like seeing all of this right
40
now.
minutes in.
Not even that far, 30 minutes maybe. And I'm like, I've seen too much of this all of a sudden. So it's I feel like it has completely removed the fear of the unknown.
Oh, 100%.
And the mystery around it. It's just there's just a clown here now. Awesome.
Because
why?
Up to this point, they've done enough little subtle things to maybe have some tension.
Yeah, exactly. There's some supernatural.
But they ripped off the Band-Aid. Right?
Yeah.
It was gone.
Yeah.
Any fear I could have had is gone.
So then it's kind of just chasing him around the house for a minute. And then just before it gets him, he wakes up from a nightmare.
Yep.
And then immediately he's into another nightmare where he sees another one of his fucked up looking creations. There's a life-size marionette puppets chilling in the corner of his room. That one was a little scary.
It was a little creepy, yeah.
And I think it's only because we saw way too much of the first one. The spookier one was definitely the second one because we didn't see a lot of it.
Yeah, exactly.
It was eerily hung out in the darkness of the corner and kind of like gave him this menacing look before he woke up again.
I will always say there is something about unknown shapes in a bedroom.
Yeah.
Everyone has a bedroom. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. Almost everybody has a bedroom.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to sleep in the dark. I shouldn't say everybody. But everyone will see something in their room at some point in their life that feels like there's something else
Yes,
there.
exactly right.
So that fear, I feel like it's kind of cheap, but it's also very effective.
But it works. It's a good,
very, very
it's
effective.
a good one. It's just like we talked about Skinamarink, right?
Yes.
Where it's like Skinamarink, there are several shots where it is just a long exposed shot of a dark hallway.
Yep.
And that's all you see.
And you create the
your own
the
brain
creature.
fills the gaps, right? Because
And
we've
it's
all
great.
been there where we're sitting there late at night, maybe home alone, you're looking at the darkness and you're like, there's something in there, and you see it, right? And it like works. It totally works.
Oh yeah, and I guess when I say it's cheap, I mean it's like literally cheap.
Literally,
it's literally
money,
easy.
financially,
like,
it is
financially
cheap to do.
and filming wise, it is easy to do.
Yeah.
but it is super effective, and I wish more directors would rely on that kind of a thrill.
Yeah, rely on the fear of your audience. They will fill the gaps with their brain sometimes. It works.
I kind of feel like those two shots were actually supposed to be different nights. And then whoever was editing the movie just put them together.
Put 'em together,
It's like, oh, he's asleep right now. Just put them both right here.
Double whammy nightmare. So he wakes up the next day. Grandpa Paul is threatening to take him to court over custody of Jenny. He lasted like one day, and he was like, well, it's what my daughter wanted before she died, so I'm going to make sure she gets what she wants. And like, it's just so shitty of him. I'm like, damn, this sucks. All this guy wants to do is take care of his daughter. Is it really that hard?
Just let him be a dad. His wife just died.
Yeah, and so to that effect, he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll swallow my pride and go take that job for my college pal,
Yes,
right? So
which
he
is
goes
very
up,
respectable.
Yeah, exactly. He like does what he doesn't want to do, right? He's like, I don't want to do just inking, I want to make my own comic series, but if it's for my daughter, then I will do this, right? If I can provide a better life for us, I will do this.
Yeah.
So he does. Yeah. So he goes in there. Meanwhile, there's some dude talking about writing a comic book about sentient darkness that kills people. This is the British guy that I was mimicking in the beginning. And he starts off his story by he's like, hey man, I got this great idea. He's like, all right, man, hit me with it. He's like, sorry, he's British. Like, right, have you ever taken ayahuasca? I took it and it's led me on this wonderful journey. And now I know it's this darkness and it kills
exactly
people.
like him.
It's just like, it was stupid, but he was like really going off on it. And his friend and the owner of the comic book place is just like, all right, man, write it. Cool.
Get to it.
He just seems like every single thing this British guy does is to set up the plot and like really put it on the nose what is about to happen in this movie.
He was our exposition dump character.
Throughout the entirety of it, nothing was left to mystery or intrigue. He just told you everything that was going to happen.
He was like, oh, well, your daughter's being haunted. Here it is.
Yeah,
It's
so-
sentient darkness.
So the Jeff goes up to his college buddy. He's like, hey man, I want a job. He's like, sorry man, I'm not interested in writing Grizzly King. He's like, no, I'll be an inker. It's fine. Like, I'll take it, please. I just need the job. Like, I need the money, right? Because he doesn't have work right now, I don't think at all, right?
No, he doesn't.
So like, that's honorable. I like that about him.
Yeah, for sure.
And then while he's like working on inking in the nighttime, he gets like this weird possession to just draw something, and then he draws like a scribble, like a being of darkness, right? And so like on the work he's supposed to be doing for this new job, he just sketches out like this, like basically just like scribbles in the shape of a woman, right?
Yeah, it's like a woman with a mask. It's like pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
This is the thing I thought was a clown, but is very obviously not a clown.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And then so he goes back to the comic book place, and then that weird British guy again is just completely setting up a comic book series that Jeff is going to illustrate. Like it's pretty obvious where he's like, none of these new artists can get what I want. Like I need someone who's got I need someone who's got that darkness in them, right? Yeah. Like I need it. Like
tap into that darkness.
Find it to me, yeah. And so then, of course, Jeff comes in. He brings his inkings that he's done, right? And then, for some reason, he left the sketches in there that he was making of this darkness creature. For some reason,
Oh, did I leave that in there?
He's like, I'm sorry.
Oh,
that was just a sketch. And then the British guy's like, right, that's it. He's like, hire him, get him in here.
He looks like he has trouble. Yeah, his wife just died.
Yeah.
They literally just like flat out say
Fucked
that
up.
to
Yeah,
his face.
he's like, I see this darkness, and he's like, yeah, man, his wife was just in a hit and run like a week ago. Like, it's fucked up, man.
No big deal.
Yeah, the British guy's name is Alan. He's just a bit of a weirdo. He takes him into his office, and his office is completely in darkness, like he's covered up the windows.
Oh, yeah.
He's got like this little like sound bowl thing that they use for like meditation. Like what are those called?
I don't know.
Something like
I
that.
have one.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
But he's just really, really obsessed with this darkness stuff and getting this idea to paper. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
But also, Jenny is also drawing creepy shit, too. His little daughter, she's also making her own sketches looking very similar to this darkness creature that he is also seeing, right?
It's about now that she starts talking to people, too. And you don't know who she's talking to.
Yeah, so Jenny's getting visited by a creature in the night, right? And it's funny because she still sleeps with her spooky doll, even after the scary life-size puppet thing is talking to her in the nighttime. And then there's actually a really cute scene where, like, she has that nightmare where she has, she sees a scary thing in her room. She goes to her dad, sleeps in his bed, and then the next morning he's trying to cheer her up. So he's like, let's do what we used to do. Let's play puppets with each other, right?
Yeah.
And so there's like this super cute, like, sequence where like the two just spend the entire day playing pretend with each other and like hanging out.
He calls out of work just
playing
to
with
spend
the puppets.
a day with his
like
daughter.
It's adorable. Like again, he's a cute dad with the right intentions. I love it.
Great guy.
And then Jenny starts asking pretty bold questions about like why him and mom fought so much. And it's just like, ooh, it's kind of a heavy conversation to have. But like, that's what she sees of them. Mommy and daddy were always fighting. And like, that's rough on her. And then it's nighttime again. So of course that means visitations from the creepy puppet again. So then Jeff starts setting up cameras in Jenny's room.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And this is where it feels very like paranormal activity, right? Mm-hmm. And then he has kind of a nice conversation with his daughter about like what is scary about this thing.
This was probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot. You said you like. I expected you to go somewhere with that. You said you liked it a lot. What'd you like about it?
No, I just really like it. He basically talks to his daughter. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he talked to her about like, just because a monster is dark and creepy doesn't mean it also isn't nice.
Right. And he gestures to the Grizzly Kin toys that are behind him, right? He's like, look at them. Grizzly Kin are your
creepy,
friends, right?
But they're
like,
your friends.
Exactly, right?
And I really, really liked that.
Which is good, but then I think it leads her on the wrong path because then she's like, oh, so I can make friends with the monsters? And he's like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So then the very next day, he's kind of being dad saying like, hey, it's bath time. You need to get in the bath. She's like, no, mommy says I don't have to take baths in the nighttime anymore or the morning either way. Yeah. And he's like, what do you mean mommy's telling you that? She's like, nothing. Never mind.
Never mind.
And then he finds out that she's seeing the same creature that he's been seeing, right? Like he finds her drawings or something like that.
And it is the one that he drew. It's like come to life. Yeah. It's a manifestation.
And just again, now he's back at the comic book place and him and Alan, the British guy, are talking about the story they're trying to write. And it is just the story they're writing is way too close to what's happening in the real world. It's feeling like way on the nose. And I'm not liking it for that. I'm like, stop. They're like explaining scenes before they can even happen. Yeah. And I dislike that.
It felt like it wanted to be Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah.
That movie with Will Ferrell from years ago where she's writing a book about his life and they don't know each other.
And there are times where that works, but this one is not quite working out for me. I'm like, stop explaining.
It felt stapled on.
Yeah, I'm like, stop giving me the movie before it can happen. Let me experience it, please. Because now clearly they're talking about like, he's talking about like lost souls getting trapped. So it's like clearly what's happening is the mom's soul is the evil darkness that they're writing about, right? It's angry about being trapped in the middle. It wants to inflict pain, like.
And these are like exactly the things that they're spelling out.
Exactly,
for us,
right? They're just not, they don't have the mom in there, right? They're like this evil entity. It wants this dark, like it wants to inflict pain. It's trapped between the living and the afterlife, It's so weird.
And then they like make it sound super ominous too, because the dad's like asking questions about it. Because obviously if he thinks it's happening in his house, he's
right, exactly. And that's the thing. He's slowly like the dad, I don't mind his acting at all in this movie. I like the dad a lot. Good. But he's able to like kind of piece together, oh shit, this thing we're creating is what's happening to me in the real world. Like, his reaction to things is what makes it a bit better than Alan sitting here and explaining everything incessantly, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we get back with Granddad Paul. He's back to explain the whole murder plot because he goes to his work. He comes to the comic book place and is like demanding to know if he actually works there. Yeah. Because he doesn't believe him. He's kind of an asshole.
So stupid.
But then he implies that he thinks Margaret's murder was no accident, or Margaret's death was no accident. It was a murder, right? Yeah. And he kind of slightly implicates that like maybe Jeff did it, right? Yeah. Like he's like, you were about to lose everything, and now this conveniently happened. So we'll see. He's like, you just might want to watch the next steps you take. Watch what you do for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be watching. It's like so weird.
Stop.
So then. We get a scene where Jeff is out at the park. He's hanging out with his daughter Jenny and the babysitter Sam.
Yep.
And it's like I don't understand the relationship between Jeff and the sitter Sam. Like she's also an artist who loves his work, and she talks about how great he was, and he's kind of losing that passion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not sure if she likes him. Likes him.
Me neither. Okay. And also, we haven't mentioned her for 20 minutes now?
Yeah.
She's basically pointless.
She's
in
a
this movie,
fairly irrelevant
but she
character.
has been there every once in a while. They shove her in wherever they can.
Yeah, really though. And it's like she kind of clings to him, and I'm getting the vibe that maybe she's into him, you know.
Yes.
And it was at this point I started to get a little suspicious about how much there are a couple conversations where she's like, you know, kind of pushing for maybe you do let the daughter go away with your wife. Maybe that'd be a better thing for you, right? You know. So it's like I think maybe she wants to get them out of the picture to get her in.
It definitely
with him, right?
seemed like it. I couldn't, and I still can't figure out if it was because of his art, though, if she wanted in on his art, or if she wanted in on his pants.
Or
like
both.
Or both.
His artistic pants.
Art pants. Maybe she wanted to take down his pants and draw little pictures down there. Like little sword fight.
So they're at the park, and then out of nowhere, there's a puppet show going on at the park, and then everything is in this red filter.
This scene made no sense.
As he's watching this puppet show in the park, and then it was just a little much out of nowhere. Everyone is looking at him. They're kind of pointing and laughing in his direction. Things are happening in slow motion.
Yeah.
And it just like didn't make much sense. Nothing happened in that scene, and then it just moved on.
And then it just ended.
Just to show that his life was kind of out of sorts. It was kind of weird.
It did nothing.
Yeah. But then
Except make me mad.
We find out the sitter definitely likes him. Sam likes him because she just kisses him.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Just like forces a kiss upon him.
It genuinely looked like she was walking towards him and tripped and fell and was like, oops, we kissed.
Sincerely, like unintentional. She's like, yeah, I always thought we'd make a good couple. Mwah. She kisses him.
Yeah.
But what
So
I really do like is like the dad was not into it.
No.
He was like, hey, I'm really sorry. You must have the completely wrong vibe about this. Because it would have made me like him a lot less if he was like, oh, Sam, you're around. Like he didn't give into the whole him being sad about ex-wife being dead and stuff like that. Like he totally was like, hey, not cool. Like we're not going to do that.
And one other thing we should note too is like he's kind of starting to talk about moving. He wants to move away.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm going to take my, like, this place has too many memories of my ex-wife, right? Like, it's not good for my daughter.
And in saying that, he's saying to Sam, like, that means we don't really need you anymore. He's like trying to fire her. He's trying
a little
to get rid
bit.
of her.
And she's trying to act cool about it. She's like, believe it or not, I do have a life outside of you. Like, I'll be fine. Which,
sure.
you know, we totally believe. And then she tries to kiss him. Yes. But yeah, so she awkwardly, like, you know, sees herself out. She's like, I'm so sorry. No, it's not okay. I'm just going to leave. She's embarrassed of it all. And then on the paranormal activity camera, Jeff can see Jenny talking with her imaginary friend, but he can actually see her until the camera feed starts to like cut out. But he definitely sees the same thing that he's been seeing in his nightmares. Yeah, he's like, oh shit, this ain't good. So he goes into the room to try to check it out. And I just wanted to mention there was a cool shot where there was like a light on the Grizzly Kin puppets on her dresser, and they shine this really cool silhouette on the background, like on the wall.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just wanted to mention like again,
it was really cool.
We haven't mentioned it a lot. Good cinematography,
and I think the reason we haven't mentioned it is because it was just good. Like it was a great time. It wasn't like the best cinematography I've ever seen, but it stood out very much in this movie. Same with the music. I actually really liked the music as well throughout the whole
cinematography
movie.
and the music in this were like peanut butter and jelly. Like they went perfectly together for this. They're perfectly complementary of each other. Worked 100% for me. Loved that
for sure.
Jenny has made friends with the ghost in her room, right? She claims that she let her into the attic, which was locked because Dad's like, hey, don't go into the attic. You're not allowed up there because that's where she fell. And so he's like, you're not allowed up there. What was that about? She's like, oh, well, she let me in. He's like, Sam let you in? She's like, no. And he's like, who let you in? She's like, my friend, right? Kind of withholding the information. She's like, I'm not supposed to say.
Yeah.
And then like as she's going to bed, she kind of asks him where mommy is. Like, is she still here with us? And he kind of doesn't really know how to answer that question. But I think it's because she knows now that the ghost that's in her room is the soul of her mom, right? She like, they're having their own private conversations.
She's a smart
kid. She really is, honestly. And so it's time passes a lot. We go through many days, I'm realizing now in this movie. Because now he's going back to work and he takes the train to work and he's like on the train full of people. And then suddenly he like kind of has a bit of a moment. Everyone's gone from the train and then it's all red again. But this one kind of feels a little less out of place.
It worked a little bit better.
This one didn't hit quite as like, it wasn't as jarring as the first time.
And it wasn't as like, it was actually kind of effective in its use of it.
Because the train empties out, it's just him in there. And there's also, I like it feels like he's in another universe. They've got these cool like particles flying around. It felt like the Upside Down, exactly, right? Like that's kind of the vibe that I got from it. But yeah, so the train's empty except for the puppet demon thing standing right in front of him there. And then kind of sucks for him, but fortunately this is all giving him great content for his new comic.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I think it just like spooks him. I think he just like walks up to it and it kind of scares him. He like screams
and then he like wakes up out of it.
Everyone on the train kind of just looks at him like he's a weirdo.
We talked about this though. It was very accurate to like being on a train in New York.
Absolutely, because it's like I feel like horror movies often act like everyone would stop what they're doing and pay attention, that look that direction, and be really concerned. But everyone just kind of looked at it and like, the hell's this guy's problem?
It's just another
And then they
weirdo
go
on
about
a
their
train.
days.
Weirdo on the subway.
Yet again, Alan is calling everything that's about to happen in the movie. Now the demon is going to start possessing like dolls and stuff, right? That's kind of what they're talking about. Like it's going to start possessing vessels or the house, you know? So like, again, really calling out stuff.
So
Again, with
bad.
the babysitter, she sucks at her job. I've never once seen her interact with Jenny. And anytime I've seen her interact with her, she hasn't been like good with her at all, right?
No, she literally hasn't.
Yeah. So then one night while she's babysitting her, Jenny invites Sam upstairs into the attic. She's like, hey, come play with us. Or like, come play with me, right? She's like, no, that's okay. And there was a creepy person standing behind her. You could see it like barely in the darkness.
This was one of the best shots in the movie, honestly.
Yeah, and I think it was in the trailer.
it was.
Yeah,
it was
a really good
unfortunate
shot.
because it was a great shot.
So now I'm like, oh shit, I think this babysitter might be in danger. And
dude.
she's sitting like looking kind of stressed out on the stairs when the dad comes home. He's like, what's up? She's like, I think your daughter officially hates me. I'm like, it's a little dramatic for being locked out of a room for a second. Like that's you're being a little dramatic about this, but also why would she like you? You have not been likable to this little girl.
No, not at all.
Awful. It's terrible. All of the pages for his comic book have been destroyed. That was another thing that happened. And he's like, only signs indicate that Jenny did it, right? But now it seems like this demon mommy did it. And so mom is clearly still around and turning Jenny against her dad, right? Because like now Jenny's kind of upset with dad.
Yeah.
And she's like, kind of blaming him for things like, about like
Saying the things that her mom said at the beginning of the movie.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, okay, so it's pretty apparent, very on the nose. Mom is still around trying to talk about these things, right? And then he goes to Alan instead of like going to a therapist or something like that. He goes to his British boss, Alan, tries to explain the whole situation to him. And he's basically like, practically flat out tells him like, hey, your wife is still here fucking up your life, right?
Yeah.
And so he's basically like, all right, have some ayahuasca and speak to your wife and make peace with her, right? It's like, okay. Sure, man.
Sure.
Why not?
What are you gonna do?
Let's do that. So he's basically like, the spirit of your wife is angry. She's gonna keep fucking up your life if you don't do something about this.
Yeah.
You need to make peace with her. Take this. It'll help you reach to her in whatever plane she exists on, I guess. I don't know, man. He was a weird... Alan was a strange character.
It was so weird.
I didn't necessarily dislike him as an actor or like just... He's written so weird.
He was just annoying to me. It
Yeah.
was just... Why would you have a character there to just keep giving away the plot?
So it is mentioned once earlier in the movie that, and it was mentioned very naturally, that his daughter Jenny is allergic to peanuts, right? Or something like that. She has an allergy. So then guess what? Sam is like helping feed everybody dinner and she has an allergic reaction to whatever she was fed. I'm like, if she was a good babysitter at all, she would know what not to feed her.
And also, she's made her a lot of food.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't just gonna happen.
And it felt like, I'm like, that seems like it wasn't an accident.
No, it felt very intentional.
So yeah, she has a bit of an allergic reaction, and she's also like scrambling to find a phone too. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, call 911. She's like,
He
I
knows
can't
what's going
find my
on.
phone.
Oh no, where's the EpiPen? I can't find it anywhere.
It's like, you are the world's worst babysitter. Why are you still hired?
Oh, no,
like, get out of
baby,
here.
Don't die.
But then, so the daughter ends up being okay, but somehow through some spooky means, the chandelier light fixture thing above Sam unscrews itself and then whacks her in the back of the head.
It's so comical. Too.
Yeah.
It was literally like a Looney Tunes style. Whoop, bonk.
Bonk. And she just falls like out cold. It's crazy. So the police are there and they find some marks on Jenny that like would indicate some abuse in the home, which is not looking great for dad.
No.
Definitely not great to grandpa, right?
No.
And grandpa's here. He's all angry. And then Jenny's upstairs in the attic, just chilling on the edge of a window.
Yeah, man.
Like she's about
Isn't that
to
what
jump
you do?
out.
Is that what
And
you do?
then right in front of her is this evil mom floating in front of her. And not going to lie, the VFX on the scene look neat. There were some
Neat
shots
is
that,
a good way to put it.
yes, not like great, but I did like the vibe that they were cultivating. It looked very much like if you go and look up like Halloween background for your computer, that's the vibe that I got.
Like a Windows XP Halloween
Yeah, exactly.
background.
There's like twisting like dead trees behind her, like the whole thing's washed out in like this orange kind of red.
I think I would have liked it better if they had used better looking trees.
Yeah.
But the CGI on those trees looked bad. Like really bad. But like I do agree. I did like the vibe. I liked how you kind of got this like sinister vibe from the mom at this point. She was like, "Come be with me,
Exactly,
right?
Come join me." Because mom's basically about to like pull her out of the window, probably like to her death, right? So they can be together. And then Jenny refused. She said, "Don't do anything bad,
smart
mommy."
kid.
I'm like, wow, okay, cool,
good kid.
She is smart. She's a good kid. And then I'm like, oh, I think mommy's about to hurt Sam, the babysitter, right? Because then she goes into the room where she's like, they put her in a bed just like to treat her for like the shock of it all. fall and like getting hit in the head. She's like, I'm fine. And then mom shows up in the room and starts to like kind of strangle her with the bed sheets.
Yeah.
Something like that. I was like, ah, shit. Well, bye, Sam. Sorry. Meanwhile, Jeff at this point is kind of wising up. He's like, clearly something bad is happening in this house, and I'm kind of onto what's going on here. So like, Paul, Grandpa, why don't you take her for the night? I think that'd be the best decision. And he kind of surprises him. He's like, oh, I didn't expect you to agree to that. All right, cool. Yeah. I can take her. All right, cool. Then Sam actually survived it. She runs downstairs in a panic. She's like, it was your wife. I know she's dead. And like,
she's trying to kill me.
She's trying to kill me. Like, this is terrible. You need to get out of this house. And I'm like, that's kind of wild that she knew that, considering she does not look like herself at all.
No.
She looks like a life-size puppet. Like,
she doesn't look anything like
doesn't look anything like she did in real life. I don't know how she knew that.
Probably not even the same actress.
Honestly. No, honestly, kind of wild to me. But so he's like, go home. It'll be fine. So he's got the whole house to himself now after the cops, Grandpa, Jenny, Sam, they all leave, right?
Yeah.
And he takes the ayahuasca to talk to mommy, right?
But he like, it's so cheesy. He like lays on the ground and lights some candles.
Just leaves the candle lying on the floor.
He's like, I'm gonna burn my house down.
So now he's tripping. He's trying to talk to Margaret. The VFX in this one were also kind of neat because like the world starts to slip away when he starts to touch it. Like it's almost like
really liked this.
It's almost like as if it were a solid subject in water, and then he moved it and it starts to like dissipate around him. Like the effect was really neat.
This was the one they showed in the trailer that I was thought would really be really cool.
It's like, again, it wasn't like fantastic, but it was kind of fun to look at.
Yeah, it was cool.
And again, he still has pretty good intentions. He's telling her she's a better parent, and hurting Jenny isn't like her, right?
Yeah.
Because like the police were pretty easily suss out like, okay, the dad is not hurting her, right? Based on what the daughter is telling them.
They're so bad at their job, though.
Oh my God, yeah. The police are sucking at their jobs.
Like, did daddy do this to you? No. Okay.
Yeah, she's like, no, not daddy. They're like, well, all right, cool.
All right, well, you got those bruises by someone else then.
All right, well,
see ya.
that's our job. Another day in the life of being a police officer. Yeah,
That's literally how it goes, though.
Honestly, though.
Insane.
They suck at their jobs. And the effects in this whole sequence of him kind of tripping, going through, yelling at his ex-wife about, like, stop hurting our daughter, you're better than this kind of stuff. Like, there are some sequences where it looks okay and some where it looks pretty bad. Like, it looks like they're just on a sound stage in front of a green screen, like, not looking fantastic. It just wasn't really consistent.
No.
And then that scene just didn't go where I expected it to. He watches her in the scene where she died, right? He watches her get hit by a car, tells her she needs to let Jenny go, and then he just wakes up.
Yeah, man.
I was expecting some kind of, like, ghostly fight.
I wanted something.
Seeing him in some kind of danger, but
I wanted him to, like, finally stand up to her and like tell her how she made him feel or something like gratifying.
Yeah. And so it's like, I don't know. Like, it just didn't go where I wanted it to. It was not a very good climax to this movie.
He didn't have a very good trip.
Yeah. No.
He had a bad trip.
So then it feels like that's kind of where the movie climaxed, and we'll get to the resolution now, right? So now he's back with the lawyers discussing the custody with his father-in-law, right?
Yep.
And he just says, he's like, listen, I just want what's best for her. I want to move upstate to be closer to Grandpa, right?
Yep.
Like, I just want your blessing to sell the house so we can move upstate. I've already done all the work in getting her enrolled in school. Like, he's a good dad.
He's doing what he needs to do.
He really has. And he makes a fairly compelling argument to like have the daughter, right?
He even tells his work. He's like, hey, I'm moving. Like, I'm taking my daughter with me.
Like, things are working out, right? And so like, it looks like Grandpa's into the idea. He's like kind of accepting him a little bit. He's like, he's got a bit more respect for him now, right? After seeing the things he's gone through. And so he's like, hey, I found some good news. I think we found the car that hit Maggie. Yeah. And so he's like, they're still trying to find the driver for it. But like, once I know, I'll let you know. He's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to find out about that. Even he seemed like, my guy, why are we still on this? She's dead.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Chill out.
But again, this is another example of it just being like thrown in.
Yeah, exactly.
Very placed in.
Mm-hmm. So like, it seems like everything's falling into place. Everything's working out all honky-dory, but it seems like something is coming up. It seems like we're not done with this movie yet, right?
No, I still think we still had like 25 minutes left at this point.
Yeah, so it's like Grandpa gets a call about the driver and he's like, send me the email. And he's acting very dramatic about who he has found out it is. And it's like, I wonder. At this point, I had some suspicions.
How many characters are there in this movie that it could be?
I was pretty sure about where this was going to go at this point.
All do.
But meanwhile, the comic book is a success, right? They're like, oh, it's awesome. But then the boss wants to change the ending. And again, completely laying out what's about to happen again. He's like, come on, you guys. You know how this works. You know, like the spirit isn't going to just go away because you asked it to, right? It's going to come back, right?
Yep.
And so
you got to have a sequel.
So then the dad is like, "Oh shit!" and he runs and he tries to go to the house to meet.
Yeah, this is so stupid.
Because right now at the house, Jenny is with the babysitter Sam. Grandpa Paul is there to all meet up there to discuss. I can't remember why they're meeting.
Well,
up.
he went to the house because of the email he got.
Yeah. Because he was meeting her there at first. He was already on his way.
Oh, was he?
No, because he was already there. He was at the house. Then he got the email with the picture. He's like, oh, shit.
I remember.
This ain't good, right? So then Grandpa gets pushed down the stairs. He's like trying to call Jeff. He's like, hey, you need to get over here. Like, answer your phone. This is really important. I'm forwarding this email to you. You need to know. And as soon as he hangs up the phone, he gets pushed down the stairs.
Yep.
And you don't know. Was it done by a person? Was it done by a ghost? I don't know. Could be one.
We'll
or
find
the
out
other.
in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it could be. I don't know. And then outside is all red and spooky again. The CGI branches are swaying and it looks bad.
They're upside down.
Looks
again.
bad. So then Jeff finds his father-in-law like crumpled up at the bottom of the staircase, and he's still alive somehow. Yeah, and so he shows him the email, and bingo, Samantha killed his wife. Yep.
She had some fake name. They had her
Sam,
full
the
driver's
babysitter.
license.
Yeah, she used a fake name. Yeah, and so she thinks she did him a favor. She killed his wife. She tried to poison his daughter. Like she's like, I've watched for years, seen them drain the life out of you and watch them poison you. I was trying to save you. You should thank me.
I wanted him to just be like, who are you?
Yeah, honestly though, just like her obsession with Jeff has led her here. Just like it felt like this was really attached on to the end of this movie. I'm like, this plot wasn't set up enough. I don't care about this character at all. Like
Not
this really
at all.
wasn't really working for me very well. But then I just wrote, get her mommy. Get her mommy. Because mommy shows up. She's not gone.
Mommy's pissed.
You thought she was away, but nope. So yeah, then Demon Mommy takes Sam, like smashes a picture frame and tries to walk towards Jeff with a shard of glass in her hand.
Yeah.
And so Mommy takes her, picks her up, and then shoves it slowly in her own neck.
Which sounds a lot cooler than it actually was.
It was not that cool, because then they cover it up by splatting blood on the screen really quick, so you don't even actually see any gore at all, right?
It was just, meh.
Yeah, not great. But then, after all this happens, Jenny is out on the ledge again. So Demon Mommy's trying to take her again. Like, didn't we just fix this shit?
Did this.
I thought we just did this, man. Okay. Mom and Dad are fighting like they always did, right? Like, it's just obnoxious. I didn't like the way this was ending here, right?
Yeah.
And so, Dad goes to like save the daughter, and somehow, I missed how this happened. They fall out of the window. I don't know how this happened.
Well, she was like standing on the ledge. They were reaching, and then they just fell.
Yeah. So now
he like jumps out to catch her while she's falling.
So now Daddy and daughter are falling out of the window together. And so it's like, I guess she will get Mommy and Daddy back together like she wanted. But there's just this weird sequence of them falling to their death in slow motion and like seeing their happy times together, like their lives are flashing before their eyes.
It was so obvious that they were just laying on the floor on a green screen.
Yeah.
It was so obvious.
The VFX in this one did not look that great. And the tree branches, like you mentioned, looked like shit.
They looked so bad.
It's also worth mentioning. I haven't touched on this before. There were some like exterior shots of the house that they live in,
neighborhood
that were completely CGI.
They made a CGI neighborhood. For this scene.
I've seen shots of the real place. Was it really that hard to shoot it at nighttime?
Maybe they didn't have.
I don't know. It was so
they
super
only
weird to me.
bought red lights for this movie.
But yeah, so then it's all covered in red light. The branches are there. They're falling to their deaths. They're seeing their lives flash before their eyes, and then they wake up.
Yep.
And the daughter just blandly says, "We fell." That was it.
We fell.
It's like, oh, okay, and they're completely fine. And so it's like, oh, maybe Mommy saved them. Is kind of what she kind of hints at, right? She's like, did Mommy protect us? And he's like, well, I don't know. I guess so. Sure. And then he looks up and all the CGI red trees just like go away. It's like, okay, so the evil is left. Roll credits. It's the end of the movie. But wait!
Oh my God, I completely forgot about
the credits are interrupted for one more scene because it can't be over yet.
No.
So the dad puts his family painting in Jenny's room, and what's that in the closet? Over on the side, opening the closet door. It's that weird contortionist mime
from the beginning of the movie.
Seemingly no connection to everything.
Yeah.
I don't understand where that dude comes from.
Maybe he's the guy she was talking to at the very beginning of the movie.
I just have no idea what his purpose is, because it's obviously like the puppet, the life-size marionette person was the mom's soul coming back to life, right? Who the fuck was this guy?
It's Grandma.
It's Grandma. But yeah, because he was there for the opening scene where we saw so much of him. Then he was back again. Like, who are you?
Who are you?
What is this entity? I don't know who you are. And that's the movie. That's the movie.
I'm excited for the sequel. My Life as an American Teacher, My Dad and My Life-Size Doll Mom.
Oh my God, that's awful. I hate that. So you got any? I guess there weren't many kills to talk about in this movie. There were two kills.
2 kills.
Good Lord.
The mom and the Sam.
And the Sam, yeah, the babysitter. Yep.
That's it.
They
And
killed,
like,
they killed each other.
I mean,
That's
there
funny.
were like
Bookends.
some jump scares through this movie,
A
but
couple.
they weren't anything to write home about, and none of them
No.
were like very effective at all.
No, not really.
So let's just talk about our expectations.
Yeah, so for me, I wrote that it's got like mad Babadook vibes. Like it feels pretty heavily inspired by aspects of the Babadook for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Looks like it had a high budget. I don't know. I guess I'll never know.
You'll never know.
The
dog.
universe doesn't want me to find that out, so who knows? It looked pretty high budget though.
It did. It felt high budget.
I liked the cool designs for the creatures, and yeah, the Grizzly Kin looked pretty sick. I'd like to see more of them. Again, like Grizz Grimly.
that
looks
like
that.
the one that like Stewie Griffin one with the football
mouth,
shaped
the
head.
teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked that one. I would actually have that doll in my
Honestly,
house.
like
he
go
looked
look it
cool.
up. Those designs look
Yeah.
pretty sick. I like them a lot. Lots of different inspirations meshed into one. I mean, oh yeah, Babadook, Paranormal Activity,
Oh,
some
yeah.
Hereditary. And it like kind of worked. It didn't necessarily not work for me,
Yeah,
but
I'm
it,
right
like,
there with you.
Yeah, it was hit or miss for sure. And then decent cinematography. I mean, yeah, that was one consistent thing throughout the entire thing. So for me, my surprises were the designs for the Grizzly Kin were great. I really liked that. I thought there was some consistently good cinematography that kept it from being a much worse movie with some good music to back it up. I loved that a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
The typical house haunting idea felt fairly fresh with a comic book artist side to it, but it got way too on the nose about it. I really liked because I'm like, oh, cool. Haunting, he's a comic book artist. What he's writing is a story that's coming to be. I just hate that they literally spelled out everything for you
Yeah,
before it happened. I didn't like
absolutely.
that. And then just a surprise for me was the weird random shots of a street that we've seen practically and then was completely CGI. Like, why did they do
Why
that?
did that happen?
Was it
Why
that
did
hard
that
to shoot
happen?
the street at night? I don't
Yeah.
understand why. And there were a couple sequences like that where they just had a completely CGI shot for no reason
yeah.
for a couple of
I'm
seconds.
right there with you.
Like just shoot it the real thing. I don't understand you guys.
So cheap scares with the clown. Was my first expectation. I mean, the movie didn't really have any scares worth mentioning.
No.
And the contortionist clown was there just to scare and no real other purpose. There wasn't any storyline around it. It was just kind of there.
I don't understand his purpose in the movie. Like I think he looks cool. I appreciate him as a cool looking monster or
and
whatever.
like obviously they had paid this contortionist to do this cool stuff.
yeah,
which
it's
was
like why was he
cool.
around? Who is he? What is he to the story?
I don't know. Decent story that just uses loss as a way to create tension, nothing actually valuable. Yeah, the tension didn't like pay off. And the story with the babysitter was essentially not even needed.
No,
you could have just had a story about grief.
It really, honestly, like the whole like having her getting murdered and that kind of thing, trying to poison the daughter, that could have completely been done away with. Like,
Absolutely.
it did not necessarily add to this movie at all. Really,
It so I have a theory.
Oh, give me your theory.
It feels like in writing this movie, they set out to make a Babadook or Haunting of Hill House, right?
Right.
Which both deal with grief very well and
course.
haunting stuff. But they were like, no, we're too close to those. We need to add something else.
Yeah, and it
so they're
kinda
like,
felt
okay, well,
that way,
maybe
right?
let's just shove this murder plot.
this is definitely one time where it felt like they had gotten a decent way through the script, and they're like, we need something else.
Yeah.
We need to add something
it
here. And
really felt that
felt
way.
added on,
It
right?
felt so added on
Yeah.
and so pointless. There was no chemistry with these actors. Terrible CGI. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
CGI
dude.
sucked big time.
It was pretty rough.
Kid actors. Okay, Violet McGraw kicked ass.
Yeah, she
she's
did
a
great.
great actress. She's definitely going places. She was actually nominated for Best Performance in a Feature Film at the Young Artist Awards
Wow.
for this movie.
I mean, like, well deserved. We say she's done a lot of stuff, and like, you know, rightfully so. She
Yeah,
just
it
consistently
makes
does
sense.
good work. So good on you,
she
kid.
does a good job. I mean, she may be playing the same character every time, but she's doing it well.
She does it well.
So, I want to be sinister. Yeah, definitely. They
Oh,
really
yeah,
tried.
Totally.
They really tried. None of it really worked off. So, my surprise is the kid acting.
Yeah.
I know I keep bringing it up, but
Not
like
bad.
when in a movie like this, something like that really stands out, right? The deep and compelling dialogue randomly was another
Random
surprise I
moments where
had.
it's like, wow, okay, this is a good
Like,
conversation to have.
I can't even think of any. I didn't
like
write
when
any down.
Grandpa's like, we are what we do, not what we intend to do.
I loved that
and
line.
the conversation about like, why are these monsters scary to
Yes.
you? Like that kind of stuff. Like
It was really surprising. I felt
some
like
good stuff. I liked it a
the
lot.
dialogue overall was probably one of the stronger points of the movie, even
Yeah.
if some of it didn't.
which
make
you don't
sense.
typically get in these kinds of movies,
don't
right?
get. I liked the idea for the plot. I thought that having like the mom be like a vengeful ghost,
Yeah.
and not like a haunting bad ghost,
Yeah, because of
was
course, like,
actually
what
pretty
reason does she
interesting.
have to be happy with him, right? Like,
Yeah.
he got the daughter in the end, and that's exactly what she didn't want. Again,
Yeah.
very unjustified throughout the
Yeah,
whole thing,
man.
and he just continued to prove that he's a really good dad to this girl. Like,
Yeah. I don't know.
I know you guys had your problem in your marriage, but like that doesn't make him a bad dad just because you're upset with him, right?
No, of course. It was weird. So that's more my expectations and surprises land.
Before we get to our verdict, we never mentioned our Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
reviews.
let's get into those.
Let's get a couple. I really like this one. Linda Cook from our Quad Cities says Separation is a good movie to stay away from. Wah, wah.
Stephen Warner says the only separation that exists here is the vast one between good and bad filmmaking, and Separation falls decidedly on the side of the latter.
Ugh, rough. Brian Tallarico of RogerEbert.com says there are no believable characters, no rising tension, and no scares in this Insidious meets Kramer versus Kramer.
I love that. Todd Jorgensen of Cinemalog says a solid cast and some stylish visual flourishes can't save a film that jettisons its more high-minded ambitions for some more formulaic child in peril nonsense.
Wowzers, yep.
A lot of big words.
So that's that movie. So let's discuss our verdicts here. For me, I struggled with this for a while, but I think I'm going to take us all the way back to the beginning. I'm going to say that was a movie.
Okay.
That was a movie. This movie felt like it had so much potential that it never reached and really played its whole hand before anything scary could actually happen. So it really ruined the horror aspect of this movie for me. And like, we were given way too much information that takes away from the fear of the unknown from the audience, right? And like leaving me going through the motions of this movie. But I'm like, I did like the designs for the puppet characters. I really liked those. You know, it was like interesting enough plot and like some dialogue things that really surprised me and stuff, and like those almost made me give this a horrible ranking. But like for me, this sits at it's a movie for me.
Okay,
not quite borable for me.
Yeah. So I was sitting. I made up a new one, but I kind of think it is the exact same thing as what you said. So I'll let you decide if we just to combine them together.
Yeah.
Mine was Almostable.
Almostable. Ain't bad.
So I was thinking because
it's like it's hanging on the ledge for me, right?
So
it's
close.
so close to being something
so
good.
close to being a good movie. Like there were so many chances for it to work. A decent story, and it fell short at every single shot.
That's the thing.
Literally any chance. Like monster delay fell short.
Oof.
CGI fell short. Characters fell short.
Yeah.
Like it was like 98% done loading, and then they let it fly.
Exactly. So just kind of disappointing.
So what do you think?
around.
Do you think Almostable and that was a movie are the same thing?
No, I think Almostable has got to be its own thing, right?
Okay.
I think that's probably where I'm at too, right? That's the thing. Like that was a movie did not quite sit where I needed it to, but it's like it's the best I could come up with. So I think Almostable is.
You're
probably,
with me?
Yeah.
All right.
I think we're together on that. It's good. Pleasure doing business with you. Blah blah. It is me, Count Trivia.
What's up, dog?
Count Trivia. I okay. Can I level with you guys here?
Yeah,
I have some unfortunate news for you. I have one piece of trivia for you.
What?
I have one piece of trivia for you. But then
So you didn't do your job.
I did. No, I did. Hey, you know, fuck
No,
you.
listen.
No,
in our
listen.
last
Hey,
meeting,
listen. No,
in our
listen.
last production meeting, you said you would have more trivia.
You go and look. You tried to find any trivia for this.
I did.
It
I
is in
found pages
pages. Show
along with the budget for this movie.
Is this the truth?
No, I'm lying.
Okay, well, we'll take your one piece of trivia, and then we'll figure out. I promise. I got something. I got something for you. It's going to be really good.
Okay.
You're going to like it. I think you're going to love it. Okay. So
Why did Count Trivia kiss me?
we found one piece of trivia for this movie.
Yeah, dude. That's all there is.
And it's not, I would not even call this trivia, but I'm going to give it to you because we have to have it, right?
We do.
So Rupert Friend, who played Jeff, and Simon Quarterman, who played Alan, the British guy, have both played Prince Albert at some point. Rupert Friend was in Young Victoria in 2009, and Simon Quarterman was in Victoria and Albert in 2001.
Do you want to know how much I care about that trivia?
How much do you care about that trivia?
This is like not.
Yeah, no, me either. And that's okay because Count Trivia has brought his friend. Hello, it's me.
What the fuck?
It is me, Count Goofula. Hello, honk honk. It's me. Wah. We're here to talk about the goofs in this movie. And unfortunately, I only found one.
So do you show up when Count Trivia doesn't do his job
If he
good
can't
enough?
do his job, then they call him the clown. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
This is a job for me to do. So I'll tell you, here we are. Around midway through the movie, the dad changes the deadbolt lock for a key-based lock.
Yeah, he sure
right?
does. I watched that
I'm going
happen.
to set up the punchline here. Later, after the police arrive, the daughter ends up going upstairs. The door's lock reverts back to the original style lock. The key lock is never seen for the rest of the movie. Wah!
All right, I'm gonna need you to leave.
Oh, okay. Well,
See this gun?
no, I don't see the gun. Oh, is that a cane around my neck? Was it? Whoop?
Okay. Okay.
Wow, that was
So
I apologize for both of them.
that was rough.
This movie did not have shit to go off of,
Nah,
you guys.
man.
I'm sorry.
Nah, man.
We got one trivia, one goof 'em up, one like continuity error, if you will.
That was pretty good.
So,
I laughed.
Yeah, we had some time. I hope someone laughed
We
at
had
that.
some
At least
goofs
we're
and
being
some
ridiculous.
gaffes. Listen.
I'm
Always
listening.
there for some characters.
Yeah.
Always there for character.
Characters welcome.
Like, oh, it's me. I'm here. I'm the Irish
Remember
priest.
Pocket Priest?
Yeah, it's me.
Remember how the episode
This is
started
me.
with that?
Yeah. I'm here just listening to y'all. You're so beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so next week we are going to be watching my selection, which will be Robot Monster from 1953, which kind of toes the horror line. I feel like it's a bit more of a sci-fi horror movie, but it's rated 33%. It's in the mix enough. It does classify as a horror enough of it. There's just this interesting design that I've seen a lot that I've always wanted to watch this movie, so this gives me personally excuse to watch it. It's like this, imagine a gorilla with like a futuristic like scuba diver helmet on his head instead of a head.
Cool.
And that's Robot Monster. So
I'm in.
that's all I got for you. I really want to know more about this, but it's from 1953. So like this will definitely be our oldest
It's
movie
our oldest
we
movie
watched.
and technically our highest rated movie.
I guess
It's 33.
33. I guess that tracks.
Yeah.
So yeah, catch us next week for watching Robot Monster.
Robot Monster.
I think, I don't know, it might be a fun time. I expect to enjoy this one.
I think we'll have a good time.
Yeah,
and it's different.
Yeah.
It's a good change of pace.
And that was another reason why I almost chose another one, but then Derek brought this to my attention. I was like, I kind of want to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
fun that way.
Yeah.
Follow us on all of our social media. Come at us at Instagram at that_was_horrible, Twitter at TWH Podcast, Facebook at That Was Horrible Podcast, and YouTube at That Was Horrorble.
You can follow me at my house,
Don't follow.
which I'll give you my address.
No,
to.
don't. Okay,
Right now.
bye. Thanks for the outro
Tell
music,
me
please.
how
Play the
to
outro
get-
music, please.
How to get to actors, kid actors,
Kid actors. Kid actors.
and you're kid and you're acting and you're a kid and you're kid and you're acting and you're a kid and you're kid. I don't have a song. To use
Oh
for
no,
this
that's
episode,
terrible.
so
Well, thanks for listening.
Kid,
Stay spooky.
Goodbye.